your family.
Hey everybody, welcome. It's been a while since I did Serene Sunday, so I figured I'd go ahead and do one tonight with you. How's everybody doing? I hope you're doing well, whatever time of day you're watching this, or night. Whatever time of day, I hope you're making it great. And thanks again for joining. I want to just put up a comment, and then this way you can see what we're going to talk about tonight. How's everybody doing? So this is Serene Sunday. Serene Sunday is really about the idea of becoming something or a better version. I always say, like, the better version of you tomorrow than you are today. So I hope you really enjoy this show and share this for anybody that needs a little ray of sunshine in their life. I call it Transitioning into the Beyond, a talk on spiritual direction in a world where our senses are no longer extraordinary. Sorry if I had the typo there. I'll go ahead and change that later. So anyway, what, first of all, is spiritual direction? Spiritual direction is the process by which one, either via someone else or themselves, begin to engage in a journey, to aim at something that is beyond them, that is almost unreachable to them, that is something that says, on your own, you will not be able to achieve this. You will not be able to reach this. And I'm here to tell you tonight that you can, and you will. You simply must have the discernment to do it. You must have the process to do it. You must read books on how to go beyond and transition beyond who you are as a person. You see, it's not about identity. It's not about the idea of just what you think you are. Because, see, that's all corporeal, bodily, image, identity. The process of going beyond you transcends who you will become. And that is what spiritual direction is. Sláinte. I come to you as Druid Nicholas Decline, founder of the Druid Circle, founder of the Druid Order of Blessed Stone and Wood, which is always the initials OCAB or OCAB, and founder of Druid University, a university that will teach regular courses, just also teaching Druidism too. And Druid Living, a conservative pagan media outlet. So, how do we begin to transcend into beyond? I think the most important first step is to recognize that the beyond is. The beyond is not something in your future. It's not something that you tried to reach in the past. It is with you as you are who you are. If you think about what is beyond you as something in your future and not something that parallels your life right now, then I would say, if you think that that is the case, that it is something in your future, you will in fact not be able to attain it. The beyond, that which is being, yond or yonder, right? The ability of taking those two concepts and placing them together demonstrates that it is truly something reachable for your own SMART goals. That is SMARTT. You could look that up and do your own research on that. This idea of going beyond you is not in a sense of traveling to your future, but just traveling. Traveling isn't something that you're able to do, okay? Traveling isn't something that you're able to do just simply in a car or by walking, ambulatory, or by wheels if you're in a wheelchair. It isn't something that is conceptualized in such simple ways. We use the term often. But traveling in a sense of a journey, and that journey is with you on the same path. You see, if we think about it in terms of planes, that you are on this plane of existence, and that on this plane of existence is every single thing you have in your grasp, within your grasp to reach at, okay, to incorporate into you who you will be, but not in your future, in your present. There's a theory that exists, and that theory says that there is no future, there is no past, for these don't exist, and that the only thing that exists is the present, right? Now, while we use terms like future and past, and future perfect and past perfect, right? And all sorts of other verbs, if you will, action words, and the conjugations thereof, those words. I think that we must think about incorporating this idea that if we simplify our time just as the present, so many things will be brought to you and into your own lives. If you really want to think about this idea of going beyond you and your senses, because in a world where our senses have been absolutely depleted, then what we must do is begin to access those senses again. Also, when we think about things that we were able to do in our past and that we're not able to do now, I fully believe in the idea that technology, that AI, and all this other, stuff is really interrupting our senses. It's interrupting our being. It's interrupting who we are. And so when we start thinking about who we are right now, then we're able to access all of that other stuff. It is by that access to those things that we're able then to bring into us to make us more powerful, to make us more confident, to make us more in control of our own faculties, to make us druids. There is, in a book entitled Breathe, you should get it. If you can get past the first few chapters, which are really, really intense, there's this idea that the Druids were able to sit in ice-cold snow, okay, and create and generate enough energy into them where they were able to dissipate that snow around them. They were able to get so hot, yet in control of their own heat, in control of their own energy, that they could level the size of a playing field, almost a football field, and make it turn to water in that snow, just by focusing. It is in this regard that we as people can then go and transition into the beyond. It's not a way forward. It's not a way back. It's a way of transitioning to it, shifting. So if you think about it, and you think about traveling, think of it more of your steering wheel. Think about if you're in a wheelchair, think of it like in your ability to manipulate those wheels where you could go left or right. You're steering, right? So that this idea of transitioning is something, right? Is something that indicates your own ability to say, yeah, this is happening right now. I can do this. That's why going to the beyond is not something that is in your future. Yet I have laid out a plan that says you can bring it into your present. This way, that goal of seeing something, say, 50 yards ahead of you, or 100 yards ahead of you, or a mile ahead of you, or 5 miles ahead of you, it takes time to get there, right? It takes time. When in reality, you have it right here in your hands. It's that steering wheel. I think the idea of spiritual discernment and spiritual direction is something that is so powerful that you must research and look into and say to yourself, what is spiritual direction all about? Spiritual direction is about transitioning into the beyond. It's where we have already, in this crazy world, lost our senses and made those senses that were once extraordinary, ordinary. And that even now, those senses which were made ordinary from the extraordinary are now even less than that. Because we have so much technology distracting us from reading a book, sitting in the woods, spending time with our children, and those children not even wanting to communicate with us anymore. The older generations have seen a way, a path, that has designated them into individuals who have gone before. The Japanese term sensei is all about the one who goes before. It's not about time. It's more about experience. And that we cannot experience an experience that another has not experienced. Think about that. I'll say it one more time. We cannot experience an experience that another has not experienced, and who may have experienced. We can't experience that because we are not there. They are on their path, you are on yours, and you work together to move, to turn, to go beyond, which is being yonder. Meaning you are already there. I want to quote something out of a book that I read a while back. It's In Tune with the Infinite by Ralph Waldo Treen. Sorry that it's not in the direction that you guys wanted to see it in. But I want to read you, the preface of this book, because the book is a classic. I mean, this is something that is such an inspirational classic that you should read. Okay. Again, In Tune with the Infinite by Ralph Waldo Treen. And it says this, and I think that this is the very definition of spiritual direction. And using spiritual direction to transition ourselves from what we are into something else now. Now. It begins. There is a golden thread that runs through every religion in the world. There is a golden thread that runs through the lives and the teachings of all the prophets, seers, sages, and saviors in the world's history, through the lives of all men and women of truly great and lasting power. All that they have ever done or attained to has been done in full accordance with the law, and I believe that would be natural law. What one has done, all may do. The same golden thread, he continues, must enter into our lives of all who today, in this busy workaday world of ours, would exchange impotence for power, weakness and suffering for abounding health and strength, pain and unrest for perfect peace, poverty of whatever nature for fullness and plenty. Now Ralph Waldo Treen continues in his book In Tune with the Infinite, and he says this: each is building his own world. We both build from within and attract from without. Thought is the force with which we build, for thoughts are forces. Like builds like, and like attracts like. In the degree that thought is spiritualized, does it become more subtle and powerful in its workings. The spiritualizing is in accordance with law and is within the power of all. Everything is first worked out in the unseen before it is manifested in the seen. Now, I want to just give you a caveat here. He's not mentioning Calvinism. This is not Calvinism. He's not saying that you are predestined, okay? He's saying quite the opposite, that you have free will to do whatever you wish to do. If you want to drink your life away, you can. You have that power. You also have the power not to. We all have choices. Okay? So let me go back then and reread that sentence. Everything is first worked out in the unseen before it is manifested in the seen, in the ideal before it is realized in this real, in the spiritual before it shows forth in the material. The realm of the unseen is the realm of cause. The realm of the seen is the realm of effect. The nature of effect is always determined and conditioned by the nature of its cause. 2 more paragraphs. To point out the great facts in connection with and the great laws underlying the workings of the interior, spiritual thought forces, to point them out so simply and so clearly that even a child can understand is the author's aim for this book, In Tune with the Infinite. To point them out is so simply and so clearly, that all can grasp them, that all can take them and infuse them into everyday life so as to mold it in all its details in accordance with what they would have it in his purpose. Now, obviously, it's coming from a monotheistic stance, but you can use whatever you want to, manipulate those words, whatever fits you. That life can be thus molded by them is not a matter of mere speculation or theory with him, but a matter of positive knowledge. There is a divine sequence running throughout the universe, within and above and below. The human will incessantly, that means it goes without stopping, okay, will incessantly works to divine will, okay, to come into harmony with it, and hereby with all the higher laws and forces, to come then into league, to work in conjunction with them in order that they can work in league and in conjunction with us, is to come into the chain of this wonderful sequence. This is the secret of all success. This is to come into the possession of unknown riches, into the realization of undreamed of powers. Now that, my brothers and sisters, is totally, my fellow Druids, is totally such a powerful definition of what spiritual direction can give you. Some would say you would need an advisor. Some would say you would need a guru. Some would say that you would need a druid. You don't need anyone but you and the gods, or the God of your understanding. You don't need anyone but that. Now, could a druid help? Could a guru help? Could your friend help? Absolutely. Anyone can help you on your own path. This is what makes our senses reality. And so that your senses and that which you can achieve is already here, is already with you, is already there. All you have to do is take that wheel and turn it. That's all you got to do. because think of it like I said in this way. I used the word shifting earlier, right? The word shifting. The Japanese used the term taisabaki. But if you turn, okay, and you change lanes on your journey, that is transitioning. You're doing it right now. Because then the transitioning, the idea of a world that we live in, that our senses have been depleted, we can have access to that again. If we simply do what we could do to get away from the real world, the R-E-E world, L world, the real world. Because that world, that Hollywood, is not something that, is actually myth or truth. Druids don't have a Bible. I think the Druid Bible right now on Amazon is selling for, there's only like one copy of this thing, and it's selling for $1,000. Stay away from that kind of stuff. It's not real. It's not true. There's no worth into it. Trust me, if there was a Druid Bible, we wouldn't have access to it. The Vatican might. We would not. So, think of it in a way where you're accessing these senses, these extraordinary, that's where the word extraordinary comes from, extraordinary, beyond ordinary, beyond, right? That we must then reconcile with ourselves what these, if you will, we must reconcile what these senses are, what these extraordinary senses are. You all have them. Every single one of you. Regardless of gender, regardless of size, regardless of color, regardless of belief systems, regardless of ethnicity or nationality or lineage. It isn't by blood. It isn't by blood that we have this. It is by preserving an order in this world to persevering until we get it. We might not necessarily know that we have to change lanes on this in our travels. We might not necessarily know we have to change lanes, 50 miles ahead. Some of us just use the GPS. Some of us use maps, and many of us just do it from memory. I think the GPS is another thing that has ruined a lot of us, because a lot of us would still be using, maps and writing stuff down, knowing that at this intersection I have to make a left or a right. I have to go east or west. I have to go north or south. It isn't about knowing what you have to do. Because think of it this way. You're driving down the road and some idiot comes and cuts you out, and you have to quickly, instinctually, look at your mirrors. In an instant, this happens. You first look at your mirrors to see if everything is clear. Then you have to make a critical decision on whether or not you have to change lanes or not. Can you even change lanes? Can you do something else? Do you have to run off the course of the road because of this person that just cut you out? And I think that if you think of it that way, if you think of it in these terms, I think that these are the things that guide us. Your instincts are ancient. When I'm talking about so ancient that we couldn't even conceive at that specific time. But these instincts are your sensory perceptions, your extraordinary perceptions. And know that these are your abilities, that this is your sorcery. I want to read you a page from my book. This is page 8 of my book that will be published at some point. So, alright, listen to this. I write, okay, this is from page 8 of my book, coming soon to a theater near you. Alright, now, not the real world, not the REE world, REEL world, I should say, the REAL world. Okay, so in my book I write about this, and I talk about this a little bit. And I say that home is a place where one lives permanently, or for a time, either until one finds another home or chooses to remain there indefinitely, especially as a member of a family or household. It would create a deeper reason to stay where you feel a belonging. Once that belonging is gone, or one no longer feels a reason to belong, then one finds another place they call home. While some have a home, it is important they understand why they have it. Once they understand that reason, then they can determine if they will in fact be there for whatever time is needed to quench their thirst for fulfillment. Home is a place for not only beginnings but also for endings. It is a place where one feels secure and at the same time is willing to defend it with whatever actions are necessary to survive and ensure that continued in a non-detrimental way to themselves. The word itself, home, comes from the word ham, H-A-M, as if to say that which covers our bones and dwells around those bones, keeping them warm, in a sense, energy. I continue to write in my book, okay? This is where we get the word Hamlet from. But more deeply, it means a dwelling place, and we shall focus on that for now. This is chapter 2, by the way. In this sacred place, we will do just that. We will dwell, and we will dwell during this discernment period on if you are truly being called to Druidism, or whatever you're being called to. Additionally, we must question the process by which you are being called, if you are, to understand your new place in life. After reading this book, my book, chapter 2, page 8, after reading this book, it is inevitable that you will be in a new place in your life. So, in essence, this idea that we are people who understand this realization that we live in a world where our senses are absolutely diminished. Why? Because we have forgotten home. We have forgotten the land. We have forgotten nature, and we turn our backs on the gods or God of your understanding. So that if we start going back to what was originally intended, as it had been said in Tune with the Infinite, as I read to you earlier. Sorry about that. Did I forget to turn my notifications are off. I don't know why I got that. Sorry about that. There we go. Sorry. Sorry about that, guys. Sticking my finger all on your face. Anyway, so think of it in a way of always being home, whether or not you feel like you need to belong to a group or not belong to a group, you need a spiritual director, you don't need a spiritual director. But that the idea is simple, in that if we remove those distractions from our lives, we will always be home. No matter whether or not, like I said, it changes, or whether or not that home is where you live and you die. If we think about this a little bit more deeply and conclusively, I would say to remember those things I taught you tonight. Remember those steps that I taught you tonight on how to move, on how to be yond. Because remember that beyond is being and yonder at the very same time. Which, if you think about it, is such a complex thought. How can you be yonder? You can't, right? But you can, as I taught you today. If you wish to repeat your forir, okay, the idea of the, if you will, Druidic mantra kind of thing, then I would say that these words will do. These words will do. I am beyond me. I am beyond. I am beyond me. I am beyond. I am beyond me. I am beyond. That would be the mantra. That would be the forir. The idea of a Druidic mantra, that's kind of like Neo-Druidism. I abhor Neo-Druidry. I abhor the tenets of those that have reimagined Druidism. But it is something to think about. There's a song, and it is Return again to the land of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return to who you are. Return to where you are. Return to what you are. Return, right? Return. I taught all that tonight. Return. You make a mistake and you go in the wrong lane, Just go back. It's that simple. Sometimes, though, the greatest achievements are the mistakes you have made. But you can go back and forth. You can taisabaki. You can switch lanes. You can transition into the beyond. That goes beyond your race, that goes beyond your creed, that goes beyond your height, that goes beyond your belief, that goes beyond your gender, that goes beyond your orientation. It doesn't matter. They're all, like I said earlier, what? Corporeal. But you, as the Druid, you can go beyond through spiritual direction, of which I gave a clear definition of tonight, what it means, and being humble enough to ask somebody, hey, what do you think of this? Hey, what would you say to that? To be humble enough to say you don't have all the answers, because none of us do, right? And I think that those controlling us right now, right? Those who believe they are anyway, controlling us into getting us to the cat clicker, the news, the papers, the stories, whatever the case is. Whatever happened, if you ever remember the goats that were going around in circles? Remember that? Whatever happened to that story? It just disappeared. I think it was November 28th, November 29th of 2022, right? November 28th, November 29th, I think November 27th, all around that whole week, right? There were all these stories of animals just going like this. I think mostly goats. I don't know why I'm saying goats, but either way, they were going around and around, and you would see all these videos. But actually, it was probably the same video, just whatever. What was actually going on? They wanted you, they were cat-clicking you to focus on that. Maybe it was a phenomenon. Maybe they had nothing else to say. But they did. But those who believe they are controlling you really aren't, if you are listening to videos, watching shows that aren't necessarily mainstream, that aren't people being paid by someone at the top saying, I need you to say this, I need you to say that. By watching those people who don't have owners. Tonight we talked about transitioning into the beyond, that time was not of essence, that it was more about the ability of bringing things into your present, and that the future and the past, the future perfect, the past perfect, those things we learn in trivium as far as action is concerned, right? Conjugation, tense, that we learned such great information. Tonight's Druid, your Druid magic, if you will, that is the science of the Druid. The science of the Druid. Not the do, but the jitsu of the Druid. That, if you think of it this way, you can, even with your senses, open portals to other worlds just by taking a hand of sesame seeds, going out into the forest, into the woods, depending on where you're at, because there's places where there's actual forest, and then there's places where there's woods, where you go 20 feet in the woods and you're like, I'm in nature, right? It doesn't matter, as long as there's trees. You take those sesames, seeds and you throw it at the tree, you are then opening up a portal to another world. That's your magic. And then you stare at that tree, and you don't take your eyes off that tree until you see what you are being exposed to through the God or gods of your understanding, as we are not atheists. We believe. We're people of faith. We're a faith-based community. And that is truly the nature of who we are. And I don't care what you believe in. I don't care even who you believe in. If you believe in Jesus, if you believe in the Trinity, Allah, Adonai, whatever. That's your belief, that's your belief. I can't question that. I'm not here to evangelize you, to tell you, don't believe in that. I am here to expand your mind, to say, hey, would you consider thinking of it this way? Whether it's Andaga, or whether it's Odin, whether it's Mercury. It isn't about the deity so much as it's the way of how you are in tune with the infinite, how you are living spiritual direction, and whether or not you have the humility to go ahead and say to somebody, a friend even, doesn't even have to be some master. I see a lot of people who claim they have all these titles. I'm a this, I'm a that, 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 I'm a this, and the list is so long that it's like overcompensating for who they actually are. Us, at the Druid Circle, we just call ourselves Druids. It's our only title. Tommy's on. Nice seeing you, Tom. I can't see everybody who's on for some odd reason. It only lets me see one or two people. And I know the counter says something, but counter says I could see one person, but the counter says I have 0 on. So if we think of it then, we think of this talk tonight in a way to understand how we can use our senses that were lost to technology and AI, that were lost to every single thing in this crazy-ass world that we lost, and that we need to go back to who we have faith in, to the things we have faith in, to what we have faith in, and to understanding that our true nature in spiritual direction is really all about understanding how to use those senses. I come to you as Druid Yuklas Daklan, founder of the Druid Circle, founder of the Druid Order of Blessed Stone and Wood, founder of Druid Living and Conservative Pig and Media Outlet and Druid University. All to come. I do believe that. I will. Because I am beyond me. I am beyond. Remember that. Remember who you are, and returning to the land of your soul. Whatever time of day it is, make it great, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Go back, replay this a few times. Special parts, whatever way you want to play it. But I'm sure whatever part you play, you will truly enjoy. Now, for your blessing. Whew. May the gods keep you. May the gods bless you. May the goddesses keep you. May the mysticals shine their light upon you. And may your ancestors remain with you forever and ever. Girawan. Betshegobra Arni. Ace le mogui. Toshefir. Toshefir. Thank you. And have a pleasant time of day.